Welcome back to the Friday Night 360 AZ preview show. I'm Jordan Ham alongside Haley Stasiak. We are now joined by Las Vegas Review-Journal prep sports reporter and Phoenix native Justin Emerson. Justin, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Jordan, Haley, nice to be chatting with you.
So a big game this week, Bishop Gorman coming down to play Centennial. Bishop Gorman coming off a tough loss to Mater Dei, 42-0. Just how do you think this Bishop Gorman team stacks up to past years where they have been quite the powerhouse here in Nevada?
Before the year, we kind of talked about that this might be the most vulnerable Bishop Gorman's been in quite a long time. And, they lost, I think it was 7 or 8 kids that went on to go to Power 5 schools last year. So, they lost a lot of talent. So this year it's kind of retooling a little bit. And, they're still number one in our rankings at the Review Journal and Nevada Preps. They're still a powerhouse. Just to what level, and if they're going to compete nationally, well, we don't know quite yet. And after the Mater Dei game, we're not quite sure.
Tyree Walker is transferred to Centennial High here in Arizona from Mojave High in North Las Vegas. He's got 77 rushing yards on 17 carries in his first game with the Coyotes. What can you tell us about his talent?
Tyree Walker was a guy last year that we loved watching, and he plays, there's 4 classifications here, so he plays in the 3A. Helped the Mojave team that was 1-8 the year before. He got there, they went all the way to the state title game. He's an amazing talent, and we felt like he was spectacularly underrated when he was here. So to see him go to, a big school in Centennial and Peoria and to light it up in his first game, it was cool for us to see. And we're really excited to kind of see how those college offers turn out for him, because I think that they're going to be coming. He's very good.
It's not just Bishop Gorman and Centennial for the Nevada-Arizona matchups this week. Hamilton's going up to Arborview, squaring off in Nevada. What can the Huskies anticipate from this team that went 10-1 last year?
Arborview has been very impressive to start the season. They've knocked off 2 California teams. One of them was a rout. One of them they snuck by. They run a double wing offense. It's fun to watch or frustrating to watch, depending on how you like watching football. It's a lot of run game. Kyle Graham might be the best running back in the state. He's one of them for sure. He's exploded for Arborview so far, and the Arborview's a really good team. And with the realignment this year, they're in a region that's away from Bishop Gorman and away from Liberty, which have won the region titles the last decade or so. So this could be a really big year for Arborview, and getting to play a traditional power like Hamilton. I know they're 0-2 this season. It's gonna be a good test for Arborview.
This Friday should be a good one between Bishop Gorman and Centennial. What are you looking at specifically with this matchup between these two teams?
I'm really looking forward to see kind of what Bishop Gorman's made of. Like I said, they lost a lot of talent, and so they're starting a new quarterback, receiver, tight end. They lost an offensive lineman. They lost a defensive back, linebacker. They lost so much talent, and 42-0 to Mater Dei. You don't really get to see what these players are made of. Like, nobody really looked good when you lose 42-0. So I'm excited to see kind of Micah Bowen's the quarterback. He's already got a couple of Division I offers. Trevin Ma'ai is a transfer in from Hawaii. He's, a big old defensive end. It's going to be fun to see. I think this will kind of be the first chance that we get. Mater Dei won the national championship llast year. They're going to make teams, not just Bishop Gorman, look bad this year. So I'm excited to kind of see what Gorman can do against a team that's, not potentially going to win another national championship.
It seems like Nevada and Arizona teams have played each other more than really they ever have with the games that we've mentioned. Liberty from Henderson, Nevada came down to Saguaro and beat the SaberCats. Just how do you think that these two states stack up against each other football-wise?
I think they're really close. I think it's fun. I think the top end in Arizona is pretty close to the top end here in Nevada. Bishop Gorman, they won national championships 3 years in a row. So, in that regard, they didn't really have a peer. But in a year that they lost twice last year, they've already lost once this year. And, the top in Nevada, Bishop Gorman, Liberty, are already playing the top in Arizona. Centennial, Saguaro. Chandler's coming to Las Vegas later this year to play Faith Lutheran, another one of the top schools here. So, they're really evenly matched, and I'm excited this year, especially, being a Phoenix native myself, it's fun to see the games between Arizona and Nevada schools.
Justin, we appreciate your time. Safe travels as you come to Arizona this week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Justin Emerson of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's a sports reporter up there. Excuse me, fumbling over my words here. You know, one of the things that stood out to me that he talked about here was Tyree Walker and just how he was a star in Nevada, and now they're seeing him as a star in Arizona, how people are still following him from Nevada.
Yeah.
I think there's been talk about how is there pressure on him to fill the hole that Zidane Thomas left in that run game for the Coyotes. But, I mean, Coach Taylor talked about that and said he doesn't want to put that pressure on him, and he just wants him to go out and play his game, and it sounds like he's doing that so far.
And it seems like historically Centennial's always kind of had that depth where they can, you know, they don't rebuild, they reload.
Right.
So they've had some changes along the offensive line that they've had to have some new guys come in, but it seems like the talent has not dropped off at all. One of the interesting things from what Justin said was this Hamilton Arborview matchup, how it's kind of like a double wing T type style, and the little note that he threw in where he's like, you either love it or you hate it if you're watching it, and that's just such a perfect way to put it, because as these teams continue to kind of go to the spread and, you know, you want to have 4 or 5 receivers out there, this is a style that maybe not a lot of defenses are seeing, so that's going to be a tough matchup for Hamilton to kind of learn potentially on the fly how to do that, although they do have kind of a history of running a similar offense, so that could help them historically. Just
this Bishop Gorman game, too, with Centennial, I've known Bishop Gorman always as a huge powerhouse, and for them to get beat big like that, shut out by Mater Dei to start the season, and we're looking at this matchup as we get closer to it, we're diving deeper to it. This is going to be a pretty good matchup. When you see Bishop Gorman Centennial, sometimes you think, oh, like, Bishop Gorman's going to come in and they're going to put up a bunch of points, but I think this one's going to be pretty evenly matched this year.
And that first game, I think, speaks more to Mater Dei than potentially Bishop Gorman.
And Justin talked about that.
Yeah, and it sounded like there was a lot of, you know, young players that needed to kind of step in, but Centennial never shies away from this. This is one of the teams that kind of from the get-go tried to schedule the out of state, you know, along with the Chandlers and the Saguaros. You know, they had
a lot of schools have scheduled those out of state.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more, but it seems like Centennial was always one of the early ones to do that. You know, Long Beach Poly came in a couple years ago, and there have been times where some really big powers have come in, and we asked Coach Taylor, and he says these other teams have trouble scheduling because the opponents don't want to get beat up, or for whatever reason they don't want to schedule it. And he goes, I'm just too stupid to say no, so I bring them in. They've had some success, and it sets them up for the playoff run.
Right.
And that's what we've seen these teams that consistently win state championships. They usually schedule one of two of these games, and I think it's a win-win for Centennial, even if they lose that game. If they come away healthy, I think that this is a win for them to be able to, you know, get that experience for that playoff push. And if they win it, all the better for them. So it's going to be a fun game. I know Jason Jewell will be out there checking that game out.
Let's huddle up now and take a look at where we're going to be going this week. I'm going to pop out to Boulder Creek Highland. Where are you going?
I'm going to be at Cactus and Ironwood, potentially maybe jumping out to another West Side school as well. A lot of good games on the West Side here early in the season. So that's where I'll be checking out a couple things. And, you know, we talked to Coach Ortiz. Going to look forward to seeing kind of that offense in person.
You know, I'm looking forward to just seeing a lot of these high school teams as they develop further through the year, how responding to adversity or bouncing back from the adversity and all of that. So keeping an eye on that for that.
Totally. And, you know, we go back last week, Pinnacle had a huge win over Mountain Point. And, you know, I saw some people kind of questioning where does Mountain Point fit in now. Just a couple years ago.
They hung there in that first half.
Yeah, and Chandler got stomped by Mountain Point a couple years ago earlier in the year. And then they came back and won the state title against Mountain Point. So it's a long season. There's a lot of experience that needs to happen. So these games are fun, but don't take too much stock into them.
It's still early.
Yeah. So these rosters and these teams are continuing to take shape, but a lot of interesting storylines across the state.
Let's head over to the social media side. If you saw our AZ Audible segment this week already, you know what we're talking about. We previewed and took a look at a Twitter correspondence between Hamilton wide receiver Brendan Rice and Notre Dame Prep Texas commit Jake Smith. Take a look at this from AZ Audibles.
It's time now for the AZ Audible Social Snap. We've got a good one this week.
Oh, yeah.
Hamilton Junior wide receiver Brennan Rice tweeted Notre Dame prep and Texas commit Jake Smith. He said, "Hey, at Jake Smith 27, what's your pregame ritual? Food you eat, workout routine. I'm trying to have 11 touchdowns in 2 games too." To which Jake Smith replied, "A liter of Pedialyte, Cool Blue Gatorade, Sour Patch watermelons, and a Red Bull right before warm-ups." Now, Rice tweeted him back and said, "Bet, I'll exchange the Sour Patch watermelons for tropical Skittles," which I don't completely agree with. I think the watermelons are a much better choice. But we want to be just like Jake Smith too, Brandon. So we've got our Cool Blue Gatorade and our Sour Patch watermelons as well.
Yeah, Haley, these honestly aren't too bad. They definitely, they hit the spot, you know?
Pre-game, good
yeah,
pre-game.
good for Jake Smith, too.
Eric really enjoyed those Sour Patch watermelons.
He
was munching on them.
That Jake's reason is the same reason I consume so many Sour Patch Kids.
That was like my go-to. The Sour Patch watermelons.
I'm a D1 athlete and one of the best athletes in the entire state, so that's why I consume.
And you're a Pedialyte guy.
I am. I love. If I'm not feeling
Hydrate.
well, I don't care if it's for young children. They got those electrolytes.
It's like a trend now.
So put it on some ice. It's great.
Let's get into your high school football question. That doesn't really have anything to do with high school football.
Don't say it like that. Okay?
Well, it's just long.
It is long, but don't do
Go for it.
the talkie.
What do we got
okay,
this week?
Okay, so last week, the question was a high school is named in your honor. What's the mascot? So got some pretty good responses. Kelly Presnell he's a photographer for the Arizona Daily Star. Went Kelly's Heroes. That's referencing.
A good one.
Yeah. Michael Rincon, a photographer for us, does a lot of great work on the West Side. Rincon's Rangers.
I like that one too.
That's a good one. Jose Bosch. Jose is an old friend of mine. He is the media relations savant for the Phoenix Rising, and he went with the Fightin' Baby Rhinos.
But I have to point out too here that his school name isn't just Jose Bosch High School. It's H. Jose.
It's
Bosch.
Hector Jose. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say
School.
that, but it's Hector
Fight.
Jose. Yeah. So the
Very official,
The
fancy.
Fightin' Baby Rhinos, and if you know Jose, it's very fitting because he's kind of like a bull in a china shop, but it just fits the baby rhino. Espo, friend of the show, friend of Sports 360 AZ, the Espo Snarks. If you know Espo, that also fits very well. They're going to run out to the Jaws theme, play on Sharks.
And it's Snarks though.
Snarks, yes.
Yes, not Sharks.
Catherine Fitzgerald from AZ Central.
This one's going to be good.
This was a late submission. She is a hoot and a half. Follow her on Twitter. The Catherine Fitzgerald Kookaburras. So, do you remember that song?
No.
It's in the Old Gum Tree. Oh, it's a good song. But this one, I think, I wasn't planning on really having a winner. I'm not going to call this one a winner, but this one was just
a winner.
really good. Ralph Amsden, we referenced him earlier. Support all those guys at Arizona Varsity. Ralph Amsden, the Ralph Amsden High School Fightin' Twitter Beefs. It's a blue
It's
cow
time now
with
for the
wings.
AZ Audible Social Snap.
And that just fits Ralph really well. He's not really afraid to take on the Twitter fights and speak his opinion. Normally, it's a very well thought out opinion, but even with the column that he wrote yesterday, he's been having some fun Twitter beef. So I think that fits really well. Haley, the Haley Stasiak High School.
First of all, I don't want a high school named after me ever because that just doesn't sound right. But
Learning Center.
I went around with this, and I just kind of pulled something out of the top of my head. I was super into horses when I was younger. So I was like, what can I make this around horses? There's Mustangs, there's Colts, like that's just basic. So I came up with thoroughbreds.
Okay.
But thoroughbreds can just kind of be lazy. They can be like, meh, you know? So the secretariats.
All right, there we go. Devin Henry, who's on the other side of the glass, just running everything. Technical director, producer. He's a do-it-all. He's a big NASCAR guy. He's also kind of lightning in a bottle.
He does, because he does it all.
A lot of positive energy when he
yeah.
comes into the Devin Henry High School Lightning.
He runs this show.
Could be Lightning McQueen, could be just straight up Lightning. I said I was going to go dinosaurs. I am.
Did you decide your dinosaur?
I did. And this won't be grammatically correct. I'm going to say this right now. The Jordan Ham High School Ankylosaurus. Those are the dinosaurs that are like tanks with like the clubs on the tail, and I'm gonna run like a Centennial style offense, just like run people over. They got spikes everywhere and stuff like that. So
dangerous
for this week. Okay, got some really good submissions. Let's keep this up for this week. So there's a high school that you went to. Who do you want your three famous alumni to be?
From my high school that I went to?
From what? Yeah, from this fictional high school.
Fictional.
Whether it's a Haley Stasiak high school or it's just like, hey, who would it have been cool to go to high school with?
In your like graduating class.
Yeah, yeah. So three famous, could be sports, could be entertainment, could be Arizona high school media.
People?
3. So that's this week's question. Make sure to tag me at Jordy Ham. Make sure to use the Friday Night 360 AZ the AZ hashtag. Yeah, jumping over my words there. But yes, the 3 famous alumni. That's this week's question. You guys brought it this past week. I'm expecting some big things this week.
Good stuff. And as you mentioned, use that Friday Night 360 AZ hashtag across all your social media platforms. Be sure to tag us for the AZ Audible social snap too. You may see your tweets, Instagram posts, Twitter videos, whatever, on our Sports 360 AZ show that's on Fox Sports Arizona. Be sure to check out Eric's Zone Read. That's going to be out on Thursday. He gives great stuff, high school football. Jason Jewell also, check on that for this weekend. Devin Henry, our guy behind the glass, is doing some great stuff covering the West Valley. So keep an eye out for that as well. Of course, keep it on sports360az.com. This show will be on demand at sports360az.com every Wednesday. You can check it out as you get ready for those Friday nights. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.